Someone once came over to me and asked me what's it like to be a kid. Someone once came over to me and asked me what's it like to be a kid. This is what I told him. 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 This is what I will tell him. This is what I will tell him.
Oh, anyway. I was just rocking out. Okay. Hey guys, sorry about that. We're just enjoying some pump-up music before live from the bunker today. Thank you all for tuning in. Wow, we are live. That is exciting. Cool. Okay.
Cool.
I'm going to turn on Instagram real quick while y'all get cozy on your couch.
Hi, Jacob. I want to actually give.
He wants to know the song. Why don't you give
So the song is. Last week we had like a whole thing about our excitement about this new song by Moshe Storch. So this is also by Moshe Storch. I'll just show you actually. It's Moshe Storch, Geschmack to be a Yid.
I'm going to show our friends on Instagram or
this way.
Many friends.
Yeah, I'm trying to. You can't really see it.
You can't see it.
Instagram can see it. But Moshe Storch, check it out. I also wanted to give a shout out to my parents who are in town, and as far as I know, they're sitting with my in-laws and watching together, so I thought that's pretty cute. I'm excited to have them here. Usually when we do this, it's 10:15 their time, so they're not always here with us watching, but now they are. So thanks for watching. Let me just move this up here, okay?
Perfect.
Is that better?
Yeah, I just can't see everything over here, but we'll deal with it.
What do you mean everything over here?
All the fun stuff on that side of the screen. That's okay. See, there's like a whole, like.
Oh, okay. We can put over there.
Okay. Very cool. All right. Anyway, so we're going to start it for y'all tonight. Thank you for tuning in. We really do appreciate it. Now that things are opening up a little bit, there's like a whole bunch of things going on with sports, Colorado sports teams. Yeah, they're probably playing right now, and there's playoffs, and here you are with us. We're very grateful for you. So
thanks for being here.
Thank you for being here. Thanks for joining. Early on in the pandemic, we just had a captive audience. There was nothing else but live from the bunker on Tuesday night. So now there's a whole bunch of stuff. So thank you for being here, for joining. So the first thing we want to talk about is just the 5 and 5-ish segment that we brought out last week. This is 5-ish news items in 5-ish minutes. Honestly, I've been just so busy. Thank God I haven't had a lot of time for the news this week. So I just have 1-ish and 1-ish. It's not 5-ish and 5-ish. And that is just some big news that, as I'm sure you're all aware, well, the way that 5-ish and 5-ish works is I just tell you a news item, and then I give you my hot rabbi take. And the hope is that this will obviate the need for you to watch the news, and you can just do things, I don't know, like go on walks or hikes or rafting trips or long drives, and you don't have to watch the news. Anyway.
That's what I do. So
exactly.
Thanks for filling me in.
So Israel opened up relations with the United Arab Emirates. So that's big news. Shout out to my friend Michael, who actually went to university there, studied abroad at one of the universities there, wrote an amazing book about it, spoke at a Jew Pro dinner about a year ago. It's phenomenal, Michael Bassin. Check it out. I'm Not a Spy, I think is the name of the book.
Yeah, that was the first thing I thought of after reading his book, that when I hear United Arab Emirates, that's just what I think of. I feel like I'm there. I feel like you're there. We know it.
And now, Baruch Hashem, thank God, we have peace with them. I believe the first, it's a really nice airline, Emirates Air, I think it's called. And I think they landed in Tel Aviv today. So there's normalized relationships, and I just think that's an awesome thing. I saw that the Sudan is also, I think, ready to make peace. And I even saw on our website, I don't know, this might be fake news, I don't know. But Lebanon, I think, is open to the idea as well. So this might have opened a awesome floodgate of sorts of opportunities for Israel to make peace with more of her neighbors. So I think that's really, really great.
Was there like a specific cause that just started this whole thing?
I think, I don't know all the deets. I think Israel made some concessions regarding the annexation thing, which, again, I don't know so much about it. But I do know as a whole, the more friends we have, I think the better. And it's good to have friends. So that's all. That's Five-ish and Five-ish. Thank you for your attention. And now we are gearing up for going deep with the D train, I think. Yeah, that's what we're up to. Okay. Okay, cool. So what I want to talk about tonight is this idea, I think we called the first part of the episode, the Shofar and New Year's resolutions. So I'm going to try to, we'll try to speak out, an interesting connection between these two concepts, the Shofar and New Year's resolutions. And I think there'll be some, what we call in Hebrew, chazara, some review for concepts that we've touched on over the last couple of months. But I think it's very important. And I think it starts off, just to speak out for a moment, that the month of Elul starts, at the end of this week. And Elul is known, I think, I'm sure we've discussed this, but it is the month before Rosh Hashanah, right? And in Europe, before the Holocaust, it was a time of like deep introspection. It was a time of real seriousness. It's kind of like, if you imagine that, you were awaiting like a verdict of sorts. It's just a time of a very serious introspection, and people really felt it. And it's a time really to do what we call like a cheshbon nefesh, to look into ourselves and to evaluate our year and to think about what we've done well, things that we could do better, and to basically make a plan for how we can, optimize the year ahead. And the Rambam actually says, I forgot to mention one other thing, that for those who are not necessarily aware that it's Elul, but if you go to synagogue, actually, every day in the month of Elul, so they blow the shofar. They blow the shofar, and the first time you hear it after basically like a year of not hearing it, it's like a jolt. It kind of just like jolts you, kind of like an alarm clock. It really gives you a nice jolt.
I like that demonstration.
Thank you. Now my alarm clock, this is just a shout out to one of our unofficial co-sponsors, Apple. Apple, one of the awesome things about the Apple Watch, of trillions of awesome things about it, of billions and billions of awesome things about it. Anyway, that is, by the way, another segment for 5 and 5-ish, is the whole TikTok, Trump controversy. My take on that is I think Trump just needs a TikTok account. That might get him off Twitter, and we see some cool videos, and I think everyone will be happy. The billions of people on TikTok will be happy. Maybe Trump will be happy. I think he's just salty. He doesn't know how to use TikTok, but I am open to giving him a tutorial if he's down for that. I would do that. Anyways, sweetheart, we're just in the middle of like a class here. So
because I thought that Apple would be your unofficial sponsor.
Oh, okay. Rami predicted that Apple was our unofficial sponsor tonight. So give it up.
Okay.
Okay. We'll talk after. Okay. Good. Good stuff. Okay. So Apple, why did I say this? Because it's nice because I get woken up every morning.
Yeah.
To a soft little thing that jolts my wrist, but it doesn't jolt me. Little buzz. It doesn't. No one else hears it. The baby, no one else hears it, but my wrist hears it, and it gets me up. So I say this because the shofar is not like that. The shofar just really jolts you. And the Rambam writes, and this I think is one of the most beautiful Rambams that I've seen. He's very poetic, very beautiful in the way that he's able to write the halachas and write different things in his works. But the Rambam does write famously about the shofar. He says that ultimately we blow shofar, and by the way, this year we blow shofar on. We forgot to do our shameless plugs.
Oh.
We can come back to that after. Okay, yeah. We'll come back after. Okay. Yeah. Because one of the plugs would be Rosh Hashanah. We're going to do some live Rosh Hashanah services in person. but there's no shofar blowing on Saturday because it's Shabbos.
Yeah.
We don't blow on Shabbos, but on Sunday we do. And the reason we do basically is because it says in the Torah that we're meant to hear shofar on Rosh Hashanah. That we're meant to. Whoa, I'm hearing myself. Okay.
Sorry.
Anyway, so the Rambam says, and I quote, even though the sounding of the shofar on Rosh Hashanah is a wake-up call, I'm sorry, even though the sounding of the shofar on Rosh Hashanah is a decree, it contains an illusion. It is as if the shofar's call is saying, quote, wake up, you sleepy ones, from your sleep, and you who slumber. Arise, inspect your deeds, return, and remember your Creator. Those who forget the truth and the vanities of time and throughout the entire year devote their energies to vanity and emptiness, which will not benefit or save. Look to your souls, improve your ways and your deeds, and let every one of you abandon your negative paths and thoughts. So very, again, poetic way to describe the point of the shofar, which is to alert us, to waken us, and to enable us to do some sort of reflection. And perhaps this is based on the Midrash, actually, in Vayikra Rabbah, which says that the word shofar, it's meant to be shipru ma'asechem. Shipru means like to improve. Vis-a-vis the shofar, you could actually improve your actions and your ways. That's maybe this word within the shofar is also this word improvement. Something about the shofar blast enables some sort of, sorry, my friends on Instagram, my wife wasn't on there, and she should be. No, you were like off the screen. Anyways, so the shofar within that word, and it connotes a degree of improvement. So really, it's meant to be like a legit like wake up call. So that's very nice. I've now hopefully demonstrated that the point of the shofar is to wake us up. But then the question is like, well, what do you do when you wake up?
Sometimes, I relate to that, not being a morning person.
You're like,
sometimes
okay, I'm
I'll
up.
be woken up, the kids will wake me, pull me out of bed, and then I'm awake. Well, what do I do?
Like, now what?
So I actually used to have a really bad habit of going back to sleep on the couch because, like, what else am I supposed to be doing? It's too early. But thankfully, I've gotten out of that habit. I've broken that habit.
That's great.
And I just start the day.
That's amazing.
But it's really helpful to know, like, have a plan. Okay, I'm gonna wake up. So when I do, what should be the steps? Otherwise, what do you do?
Right. Exactly. Because as you said, right, you could just be sitting there like dumbfounded, like I'm awake,
Imagine that.
So it's important to like know what to do with that information. So that's kind of what we want to maybe discuss a little bit tonight.
Are these on Instagram? Are those the people who are watching?
Yeah, I honestly I don't know if they're still with us or not, but
shout out to Dasi.
Big shout out to Dasi and my man Eiffel Tower, Balsam, and Nick. Good to see y'all. If you're still with us, awesome. If you just tune in for like 10 seconds, that's awesome too. Anyway, so what do you do when you're awake? That's the question, right? That is the question. So when you think about it, I want to transition a little bit. I think that hopefully it'll answer our question. That Rosh Hashanah is really the Jewish New Year, right? And we know every year in December, everyone's like real serious about their New Year's resolutions, right? Whether this is within the realm of, there's actually a number I saw that 60% of Americans come up with New Year's resolutions. So whether this is in the realm of relationships or health or spirituality or finances, people come up with New Year's resolutions. And Rosh Hashanah basically gives us the inspiration, or New Year's gives a person the inspiration, which can basically bring a person to clarity and kind of like can inspire change. It's like, oh, another year. I know this year, we're all kind of excited for the big 2021. It's, after the interesting 2020. But it's like another year, and I think I spoke about this actually shortly after my birthday. as we age and as another year comes, like it's an opportunity to get deep with the D train, and we make resolutions, right? Feel free, by the way. I mean, I guess it's more of a personal thing, but by all means, feel free to shout out in the comments. I missed some comments earlier before.
Want to give a shout out to Joyce. Thanks for joining us.
Yes. But feel free to share any resolutions y'all might have with us. By all means, we welcome them. But if you had to guess, and this I'm asking for a little bit of participation here. If you had to just guess, what 60% of Americans make resolutions. Of those 60%, what percent? So in other words, we're talking about people that are somewhat serious people. Yeah. In other words, there's 40% who, and I'm not like knocking you, God forbid, but there's 60% are like, oh wow, another year, I'm gonna like get serious. Okay, so kudos to all of you 60%. So they're already serious people. But of these 60%, what percent keeps the resolution? That's my question. What would you guess? Give me a percentage. What percent of 60%? What percent of this 60% keeps their New Year's resolutions? Feel free to comment. I know Facebook has like a 20-second lag, so we'll chill for a little bit. Okay. Oh, Zoe, what's up, Zoe? 25%. Hey. I like it. Any other guesses?
Feel free to guess, or also just to say hi so we know you're watching.
That's true. That's true. It is nice to know who's with us here.
10%, Joyce says.
Joyce says 10. Charlie says 37. 37%. Okay. Cool.
We're watching the screen.
So we got anywhere from 10% to 37%. We're just actively watching.
Hello, Terry.
Hey, Terry. Lee says 25%. We're going over what percentage of people keep their New Year's resolutions. We have 2 for 25%. Seems like 25% is the winner.
And then we have one higher, one lower.
137, 110. Oh, and we have, okay, cool. Thank you guys for your guesses.
Can I just show you how cool this is for a sec?
Yeah, go for it.
My green mug.
Oh, that is neat.
You see the stripes of the flag from behind me.
How does that work?
The green screen. Sorry, Instagram. You can't
Why
see
do you
this.
think there's a?
Because green. So anything green.
We are in the Parks and Rec office. Don't give away our secrets.
Oh no.
Oh no. Okay, now you all know on Facebook.
Maybe they didn't know it was Parks and Rec though.
Oh, that's true. Okay, so now you all know our little secret that it's actually just a green screen. You know, let me show. Is it possible? No, this wouldn't work. Okay, never mind. I'm trying to show our Facebook viewers what it really looks like. If you can imagine just a green screen behind us, that's actually what's behind us.
On cool. Instagram, you just see it like it is. There's no fancy. Well,
exactly.
There is fancy. But. Okay, Ben says 50% keep their resolutions.
50%, and Stephanie says 40%. Okay, so he has some good guesses here. Okay, so what's up? Okay, so now the answer, and I got this actually in a cool book. I think we quoted it before by an inspirational speaker named Charlie Harari. And according to his research, and I think he like quoted this in a study somewhere. I didn't actually catch the exact name of the study. Apparently, it's 8%. 8% of the folks keep their resolutions.
So if this was a contest, Joyce, you would be the winner. Yay.
Although, what did Joyce guess? 10. Oh, that's good.
That was the closest.
But if it was Price is Right, if you guess over, if you over guess, then you actually lose.
Well, at least it's not a contest or Price is Right.
Exactly. Okay. Exactly. Okay. Terry, it's not rude at all. Go enjoy your grandson. Have a great night. Okay. Anyway, so it's 8%. Now I want to ask another question. Okay, another question. What percent? And again, we welcome your participation. What percent of the resolution makers? So again, this 60%. We said 8% keep it. That means, if my math is correct, 100 minus 8 is 92. That means, right? I think so. Austin, you're probably not watching. Austin's my friend, the math teacher. If you were watching, he could clarify that for me. I believe it's 92%. Okay, that means 92% of the good folks who make the resolutions, they actually go ahead and at some point they give up on the resolution. The question I want to ask now is what percent of those resolution makers give up within 1 week of the resolution? Okay, so it's kind of a more of a specific question here. What percent of the folks who give up on the resolution give up after 1 week? SI. Okay. Now, what is that? Okay. I'm not sure, Charlie, what you mean by that. But what percent gives up after a week?
80%.
80%. Okay. Okay. I like it. 80%. According to Charlie Harari's book here. Charlie says 23%. Okay. Anyone? Joyce says 65%. Jacob says 80%. 83%. Okay. We have 3 within in the 80% range. Okay. So while y'all think about that, according to this study, I'm sorry, my sweet little Esty is having a rough go of it. Anyway,
it's okay, because our 7-year-old is babysitting.
Oh, Usher's all over it. Amazing. Okay, so the answer is actually 25%. 25% of the good folks give up within a week. So Charlie at 23% got very, very close. Okay, very good. So basically, that is a little something about New Year's resolutions.
So just a shameless plug. A lot of this was based on Charlie Harari's book, which actually has a podcast that you can listen to called Unlocking Greatness. And it's an awesome podcast. He talks about all this kind of stuff and more.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
So basically the question is that I think we've demonstrated through these studies that a lot of folks make resolutions and a whole lot more don't keep them.
Yeah.
I know for myself, every year Rosh Hashanah, it kind of feels similar. Like, I had all these aspirations and like, what happened, right? And like, God forbid a person goes through life and like they have aspirations and then you keep going and going and going and you look back and you just never quite hit those resolutions, those goals in your life. And that's a scary thought. So
if it's health goals, I do health coaching. So if anyone's interested, I love talking about eating healthy habits, all that kind of stuff. So I'm available for talking about that if you just want to schmooze or learn more. And also, I was just thinking about, not related to health, but in general, like how many times do we come to the high holidays and we're thinking about the same things that we want to do good every year? And like very often, it's basically the same list.
Right. I mean, that'd be interesting. I don't know if anyone's ever done this. Like, have you ever like written a list of your aspirations and your goals for the new year? And like, I think I have it somewhere actually. It'd be interesting to like dig it up and to see how it's probably the same as it is now. And there's something really to work on. I hope we've discussed this here on the show that through the through the quarantine life, guys, please. Okay, I'm gonna take a question.
It's okay. I'll just hold for
the whole like double tasky thing like is never a strength of mine.
This is the key to say.
Okay, welcome Esty to the show. Can you say hi?
Hi.
Okay. Esty is in the house. Okay, but we be quiet. Okay. Deal. Pound it. Pound it. You're not gonna pound it. Okay, she's not gonna pound it. Anyways, as I was saying, again, the whole multitasking thing is a problem for me.
So we said
I think if I would go ahead and I don't even know what I was talking about. Resolutions every year. It'd probably be very similar. Okay, so what do you do, right? This is what I want to get to, okay? What can we do to follow through in these resolutions? It's obviously so hard. Such a small fraction of those who make the resolutions follow through. Like, what can we do to follow through? So I'm going to just drop some quotes from this great book, Unlocking Greatness by Charlie Harari. I think they're really insightful. and just pose some food for thought. And I challenge all of you watching to like kind of get deep with yourself now, reflect inwardly, and think for yourself. Well, obviously, no need to share; it's very personal. But I encourage you to really kind of work with us and go through these motions with us now. So Charlie says as follows, okay? He says that resolutions are destined to fail because they're centered on outcome. They articulate a destination but do not give us a map showing us how to get there. There's no plan of action, only the expression of a desired effect. So we're in the midst of planning we actually have a date. I forgot when it is, sometime in September, I think.
For what?
A hike to Mallory Cave in
September 13th, I believe, is Sunday.
So we have a hikey poo planned to Mallory Cave. Shout out to my man Jacob Camaris, who's probably not watching. But one time Sarah and I were talking when we were dating long distance, and he was my college roommate, and he overheard me describe to her the hikey poo that we went on, and he never lived that down. So we're gonna go on a hikey poo to Mallory Cave, okay? And if I know Sunday morning, September 13th, that we are going to Mallory Cave, that's very nice, but that's not going to help me get there. Like, yeah, I know I'm getting to Mallory Cave, but that doesn't really help because I need a way to get there. I need to figure out how to get there.
You know what? I just never thought about it this way before. But in Waze or Google Maps, whatever you use, you just put in the address and it tells you the steps. Like, can you imagine for everything you wanted in life if you could just say, this is what I want for my life, and like someone could help you figure out how to get there, what steps to take?
Yeah. That would be nice, right?
Yeah, so simple.
Our challenge is we don't have ways to just tell it to us. We have to actually like use our brains and like think it out and like work. You got to work. Now is the time to work. So basically, I think we can appreciate, like, it's nice. And just think of it like that, right? I know I have to get, to whatever destination. I'm driving to Boulder. If I don't know how to get to Boulder, it's not going to help me so much knowing that I have to get to Boulder. I guess it's a good first step, but it's certainly not enough. And after driving in circles for, maybe a half hour, I'm going to give up on that aspiration to get to Boulder. So I think it's a fair metaphor, perhaps, for New Year's resolutions and why we fail in them, because we don't have a plan in place to get there. So basically what Charlie says, and I'm just quoting him, he says, with only the end in mind, you're not owning in on the specific behavior or belief that needs to be changed to actually get there. Change is a process, not an outcome. He says resolutions are outcome focused. Habits are process focused. So because our New Year's resolutions are outcome focused, we fail. And as we're going to develop, we've spoken about in the past, habits look at the process to get to that outcome. And that's really, I think, perhaps what we can think about doing now in this month of Elul as we try to successfully experience growth in the new year in our resolutions. So Charlie says, just simply says, change happens when you form new habits, not resolutions, as we've said. And you create new habits, he says, through rituals. Rituals are designated routines which are designed to bring change in a particular area of our lives. Stephen King, I've seen this, I think, in actually maybe a couple books. Stephen King, at the time of, I guess, when I read Charlie Harari's book, had written 55 books. And the question is, how does one achieve such a massive accomplishment of writing so prolifically 55 books?
It's a lot of books. And
he had a daily ritual. And Charlie says, actually, this was Jerry Seinfeld's secret as well. But his daily ritual was writing 10 pages every single day. That was just what he did every day. He was in the mood to write. Was not in the mood to write. He would write 10 pages a day. Jerry Seinfeld achieved success in comedy also through just a daily routine. I forgot exactly what it was, but he did it every single day. Whether he was tired, whether he was in the mood or not in the mood, like I said, it was every day. And
that just reminds me of our talk about consistency.
Last week.
That through consistency, we can really grow and become better.
100%.
Create these habits.
Absolutely. 100%.
Can you imagine, like, if we judged ourselves based on our processes that we were doing in life as opposed to our outcomes, how our self-esteem as a society would be tremendously higher.
Because, right, 100%. Because can you control the outcome?
No.
You
can't. You just do your best.
You can just
process.
You can control your input, like what you put in. As long as you put in everything you can, whatever the outcome is, it's you did your best.
Right.
And I think that's important.
Right. So for ourselves and for others, then, because then we're not judging other people's outcomes, because as long as they put in their process, you don't know if they put in their process or not. But like, you don't need to know. Like, everyone just does their best, and you don't judge.
Exactly. So it's really what you put in. And Rabbi Zechariah Wallerstein, actually, this really made an impression on me. He bemoaned the grading system for school, because basically what it is, standardized testing, whatever, it's like every kid, regardless of what their natural inclination is to succeed in school or their natural intellectual abilities, every kid is basically weighted against the same test, the same standards, the same, scale. And you might have a very intelligent kid who is lazy and doesn't put much in, comes out with a 90. You might have a less intelligent kid who works his tail off, comes away with a 75. Right? Who should get the better grade? So perhaps
everything should be based on effort.
Should be based on what you put in. Because again, the outcomes are not always in our control. Okay, so Charlie does, and then we'll wrap up, on this kind of theme, and then we'll turn it over for life hacks with Sarah. But Charlie does go through a few elements of ritual, and I wanted to just discuss a couple of them. He says that in creating, let's say, a plan for a ritual, or maybe this time of year, honestly, it's a good time to think about this. Like, it is good. Like I said, it's not bad to have the goal in mind, but you just can't stop there. So he says that basically you should have a goal that's ambitious and exciting, and it should come from within, right? It shouldn't be due to a nagging of a friend or a spouse or a doctor or anything. It should be coming from within you because you want that change sincerely, and you want to picture your ideal future self and believe in it, right? So he encourages you in his book to imagine for a moment, what's your ideal vision, your ideal day for where you want to be, let's say next year at this time, right? We're now a year later from now, transport ourselves to a year or two later, where we're coming up to the next Rosh Hashanah. What do you want your day to look like? Right? He actually has, you walk through an exercise, I did this a couple of months ago, where you literally write out your ideal day with every gory detail. And then you have kind of a vision of where you want to be, and then you can kind of work backwards and make a plan for how to get there. But he says that's actually step one, is to have some sort of ambitious goal for what you want your life to look like maybe in a year from now, or 5 years from now, or 10 years, whatever it is. And then he says, so that's kind of the first thing that we have to understand. But then you also have to understand when coming up with what to do about that. So you have to appreciate what it says in Pirkei Avos, in Ethics of Our Fathers, where it says, and big shout out to my man, Brian, the amazing glassmaker is with us here on Instagram right now. I use his cup he made for me every Purim, and it's life-changing. So thank you, my man, for joining us. Anyway, I did want to go ahead and share, though, that the Mishnah in Pirkei Avos says, Lo alecha amlacha ligmar v'lo ata ben chorin lihibatel mimena. It's not your job to finish the job, but you're not free to, you have no right to exempt yourself from trying. So no one's necessarily expected to finish everything, right? You're not necessarily meant to just complete it, to finish it, to obtain that outcome exactly as you hoped you would, but you're not necessarily free to just be I'm just not even going to bother. I'm just going to give up. Meaning you have to put in the effort. You have to go through the input. And the way that actually Charlie Harari describes this idea is through what he calls, you should go from an all or nothing mentality, leave that aside. That's a big, what we say, Yetzer Hara. It's a big trick of our the part of us that wants to lead us astray. Don't believe in that it's all or nothing, and instead transfer to what he describes as like a +1 attitude, to become 1% better every day in whatever it is. They talk about this actually in the financial independence movement podcast I discovered a couple months ago. Choose FI. Like, what did you do today to improve your financial situation 1%? They say this in the realm of fundraising as well. Just like, what's 1%? What's one thing that you could do today to encourage, to enhance your fundraising aspirations? Just like, always be moving forward, just one little percent at a time. And when you do that, you're able to actually achieve massive change because you didn't bite off more than you could handle and then back down, right? You kept going and going and going,
Steadily.
like the little engine that could.
Yes.
Right? I read this book to this one sometimes. Little engine that could just kept puffing away, one little puff at a time, and it made its way to the top. So this, I think, is very, very important, and to do 1% better. Charlie describes, and I'm just going to quote him now. He says, "While your new vision should be ambitious, the ritual should be within your reach." So the ritual to get to the end goal, that's what we're talking about with the 1%. So, if I aspire to become very fit and strong, that's my goal. So a ritual could be to do 1% more than I did yesterday. So like literally I did this at the beginning of the pandemic. I think I started and I did like 5 push-ups. And then following this exact idea, I added one every day. And now I'm up to so many, I'm not even going to say because I don't want to boast. But a big shout to my pops who's watching, I think, who followed this advice. And now he's just plugging away on these push-ups. Soon he can probably do more than I can, because I injured my thumb at a wedding. I kid you not. At my age,
What are you doing?
I assume they're probably not watching, but big shout and mazel tov, by the way, to Sophie and Adam. Got married about 4 weeks ago. Big shout to that's where I injured my thumb. I didn't even tell them. I was embarrassed to tell them. Big shout to Zevi and Zavi. Got married a week or 2 ago. And most recently to Simcha and Lexi. I got a lot of exciting things going on. I'm probably missing, if I missed one of you couples who just got married, mazel tov to you as well. I injured my thumb at a wedding. I literally, you want to hear how sad this is? At softball, at our last doubleheader, we swept it by a combined score of like 25 to like 5. I went 4 for 4, walked twice. And I had to remove myself from the field. I had to DH it because I injured my poor thumb at a wedding. I broke dance on kind of slippery grass, and it just, the hand didn't.
After a wedding.
The thumb didn't react how I hoped it would. And I injured my thumb at a wedding. So go figure. I was on the DL. Imagine if I had to go on the injury report that Wolf out for 5 games. Injured thumb due to wedding.
That's funny. I thought you were saying you kept it on the down low.
No. I've been pretty public about it. But anyway, stretch your thumb before dancing at a wedding and breakdancing. I will say, and I'm proud of myself, at this most recent wedding, at Simcha and Lexi's wedding, I powered through, and I broke dance anyways on a broken thumb or injured thumb. I don't really know what to call it, because you just got to lay the body on the line when it comes to bringing joy to a bride and a groom. It's an awesome thing. Yeah, okay. Anyway, I digress. So, I was talking about push-ups. That's 1% better, right? So taking a ritual, says Charlie Harari, that you cannot sustain is like making an empty New Year's resolution. So the ritual also has to be doable. You can't be like, okay, I get it. I believe you. I'm going to do a bunch of awesome rituals, and that's going to get me to my goal. But if the ritual is too much, then it's a joke. It's no good. So it has to be doable. It has to be simple, doable, and it's very, very, very important.
It's almost frustrating. Like, I just want to get there already, but there's no shortcut.
Exactly. So just grind away. The key, as always said last week, it's all about consistency, and don't forget that. Okay, it's better to do less and to keep it up than to overreach and end up back where you started or behind from where you started. And I think that what everyone should do now, and myself included, is to identify a ritual that is just barely outside of your grasp now and like commit to it. Right? And that would be a 1% action. Maybe write it down, tell someone you're going to do it, because then you like bring it to life, and then it becomes obtainable and doable. So I think that's important.
I could share a ritual that I
yeah,
actually
please.
just started a
Yes.
few days ago. I decided every day, I've done 3 days so far. I've been Gleanetter, but I've been reading a chapter from Living Amuna. It's a great book, very inspiring and helpful in daily life. And I'm
What's
loving
she doing?
it.
She's like swatting a fly? What are you doing, sweetheart?
You want to wave?
You're waving.
You want to wave to
like
Bobby and
this.
Zadie and Safta and Grandpa? They're all watching.
Yeah.
Where?
So
You
can you
can't see that.
just say that again? I got distracted.
It's okay. I'm reading Living Amuna. Just
All right.
a little. It's like a page at a time. I'm reading
That's
every day.
huge. It's
Loving
huge.
it.
Right. For me, I'm, in my effort to become a little more, fit, I try to walk to synagogue even during the week. Doing that is like, it adds up. If I end up doing that, I usually try to go to synagogue twice a week, not twice a week, twice a day. And I end up doing that, and it ends up adding up to about 40 minutes of walking.
Awesome.
But again, in the moment, it's not like a huge thing. It's just, I can walk 10 minutes each way. And even if that would be too much, to even walk to work, which is, 5 minutes away. It's 3 minutes away, and that becomes 6 minutes. And do that a couple times, that's a big deal. So I think that's it, and for me, and just get a little personal, this comes up every year, basically. For me, something I'm always thinking about is like, it's like a big thing to like study Torah, to learn at night. And I'm not such a night person, and it's a big struggle for me. So I often think like, well, if I can't go to the base medrash, if I can't go across the street to learn, like what's the point in anything? I may as well just sit on the couch and just, read ESPN until I fall asleep. And that's missing the point. So I think a +1 ritual for me would be basically to, pick just one book and commit to reading it or studying it for 3 minutes a night. That for me would be a doable +1 ritual. I'm able to grind away and learn in the mornings, but I would also like to kind of cap my day in the evening also like that. And I think that would be something I could do. And a year from now, I could look back, and those 3 minutes a night would be, any math whizzes here? 3, let's say I did this every night. 3 times 365. Okay, I'll just wait. Comment. It's beyond, I guess Siri probably knows. Hey Siri, what's 3 times 365?
That would be 1,095.
That would be 1,095. That's what that would be.
So you're saying
Okay.
it's that many minutes?
If I divide that by 60. What's 1,095 divided by 60?
It's 18.25.
Wait a second. What does dividing that number by 60 do? Is that the
How
number of
many
hours?
seconds? No.
Minutes? No.
Hours.
Hours? No way. If you
Right?
no,
Guys,
that
is
doesn't
that
make
right?
sense. Okay, Charlie, help me out here, okay? If it's 1095 minutes divided by, there's 60 minutes in an hour. So 1095 divided by 60 is 18. That doesn't sound right, though. Is my math wrong?
What are you
Anyone?
trying to figure out?
How many hours, if I commit to learning every night of the year for 3 minutes?
How many hours is that?
It can't be that's 18. I did something wrong. But someone help me. Math whiz. I got to get Austin tuning in here. 60 seconds to a minute. Okay. That's true.
Yeah.
Okay. Help me out
Jacob,
here.
what would you do? When all else fails, I ask my
Okay.
brother.
So you guys compute that. Okay. We'll come back to that once you calculate it. Anyway. So
He's watching. Can you say hi?
anyways. So what I am, but yeah, I'm going to figure this out at some point. Okay. So if it's too hard math for everyone watching, I get it. It is for me too.
It's been a long day.
And I'm going to try to figure it out after. Okay. Anyway, so I'm going to try to wrap this up here. But I think that it behooves all of us to, like I said, just get real with yourself and to think about to 365 days times 3. Okay, good.
That's how many minutes?
That comes to 1095.
Oh, use I don't remember how to use my
Oh,
TI-85
TI-85 calculator. This is like calculus here. Okay. Sorry. Anyway, so we got to keep moving. So all I'm suggesting is that SOS on the. Uh-oh.
How do you do
Please
that?
don't come.
Oh my
Oh my
gosh.
gosh. Just try to. Okay. Tell them not to come.
I think I got it.
Okay. Okay.
Whoa. Okay.
That was a
I'm
close
taking my
call.
watch off.
Anyways, yes. Okay. The point being that I think that it's just important for everybody, whatever it is, in the realm of Judaism, in the realm of Judaism, or in the. Thank you, Brian. By the way, my math is right. I'm going to double check that. That seems like a lot. 18 hours coming out of 3 minutes a night. That would be awesome. If that's like true. 18 hours in the year learning
That's so cool.
from 3 minutes a night. I'm going to double check that.
It's a whole
but
weekday.
That's
More.
that's crazy. So that little 3 minutes, I'm like, what's the point? That's a big deal.
Yeah.
Anyways, so I encourage everyone. We're coming to Rosh Hashanah, whether it's in the spiritual realm or whatever it is. Like, think, get real with yourself, get deep with yourself, and think about what it is exactly that that something 1% more you could be doing. Whether lighting Shabbos candles, whether saying the Shema, whether for men to put on tefillin, to study Torah for 3 minutes a day or a week, whatever it might be. But commit to it. Start doing it. Probably start doing it like tomorrow.
Yeah, even
because
better to do it before, like with Ella.
maybe
Elul starting.
maybe do it before Betty by tonight.
Then you get 40 days in before Yom Kippur.
It's a nice running head start. You hit the ground running. Finally, Charlie says, and then I turn over to my better half. Charlie says that it has to be measurable, clear, simple, and measurable. Okay, so about this ritual that you're going to define for yourself, and I'm going to define for myself, you should be able to answer the following questions. What am I doing? So in this case, I'm going to learn Bli Neder for 3 minutes a night. When am I doing it? I'm going to do it at, I don't know, 9 p.m. every night. Kids should be sleeping by then. Almost done with life from the bunker by then. Okay, how long am I doing it? 3 minutes. And I'm going to do it for the year. What is considered to me a success or failure? A success is sticking to it consistently, even if I'm not in the mood, even if I'm falling asleep and tired. Did I do it? That's the last question. Did I do it? This is where the habit tracker we spoke about a couple of weeks ago comes in. It's helpful. I think Seinfeld did this, actually. He literally just marked off checks when he did it, and he was like compulsive about those checks. Got to get those checks, and that's the thing. So what am I doing? When am I doing it? How long am I doing it? What's a success or failure? And did I do it? Take 3 minutes and start this. So whether you do this now or whether not, I just double dog dare all of you to consider going ahead and reflecting tonight on something that you can do, a ritual, a habit that will lead you to the right direction, to your goal, for the new year, so that next year we'll all be in a much better place.
So speaking of just the habit tracker,
Yes.
I think it's interesting just to think about the habit tracker. You could track a lot of habits on it, but if you want to make it simple and just do one tiny thing, then you really need to focus. Like I'm thinking Jerry Seinfeld checking off, you could check off a whole calendar a day when he does that. Like that's much more satisfying than one tiny square on a habit tracker where there's tons of habits listed. Meaning instead of tracking a lot of habits, you just track that one that you're working on.
I like that. Because what I've been doing has been overwhelming.
Yeah.
Is in my habit tracker, I've had like 30 habits. And then like it's too hard to check the box for every day, right? So you have the habits like down here. You have the day up here. And then you have like 15 habits you're working on. And you miss some of them every day, it just becomes despondent. And I gave up on it.
Like, okay, I don't get all of them every day.
What's up to my former chavrusa and friend, David Pardo? Wow, it is good to see you. I'm going to wave to you here on Instagram. David is the man. Check out his good work at the OU. Wow, what a chus to see him here. Okay, anyway.
Yeah, I understand. It's interesting. Okay. Should we switch over?
We're going to switch over to life hacks.
You
with.
You are on it.
Oh, I switched it already. Yes.
Good job. Regards to the family, to all the Pardos.
Yes.
Okay.
Ah, love those photos.
So here's our segment. We are back to life hacks from this book, which is just awesome. And it really, well, I'm so happy to hold it, but you could. Okay. It really ties into exactly what we were talking about so well. So this week we are talking about, I'm not going to do a whole review, but in case you're curious, we started with individuality, the importance about recognizing we each have our own individuality, strengths, and finding our strengths. So we are on our third, session? Our third week. We are doing awareness, okay? So what are some things that we could be aware of? And I love your participation. What kind of awareness could we be talking about? Or what kind of awareness is there, right? I'll start simple. There's awareness when you cross the street. It's simple, but it's so important. You need to have an awareness of who or what cars might be around. What other awareness do we need to have? I can list some, but I'm just curious what you guys are thinking. But I will just go on. Okay, so there's awareness, right? Awareness of our environment. I would start more on the big macro scale, okay? Awareness of our environment around us, right? Just like a car or wherever you are, it's nice to be aware of what's going on around you. To your environment. Awareness of, let's say you're driving, right? There's another car example. But if you're driving, you also need to be aware of what cars are around you on the road. And I know my parents did a great job teaching me that. Just having that like general, where the cars are around you. Okay. Yeah.
It's actually cool. At the school, we had a session about security training and being ready, and they went through different levels of awareness. Mm-hmm. One picture the dude's in his ear-pods, just jogging. There's very little awareness. Yeah. And then you have the one who's just relaxed and calm. That's another level. And then you have in the snowstorm, it's more of a ready focus, yeah. Awareness. And there's paralysis where it's it's too, you just don't even know what to do. Yeah. Wow. Anyway,
that is interesting. Yeah. Right? When people cross the street wearing their ear-pods, there's very little awareness there. It's pretty scary. Yeah. 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 So
if you're watching this, by the way, on a walk sometime, shout out to all of our many, many viewers watching this not live. Be careful when you're crossing the street, please.
Yes, please.
You could put us down for a minute and cross.
Yeah, we prefer that. We really, really would. Okay, so then there's also social awareness of yourself in social situations or the social situation around you, right? If you walk into a room and everyone's in a solemn mood, then it's helpful to have that awareness. If you walk in chipper and dandy, you just kind of want to be aware of what's going on. And then more awareness. There's awareness of ourself and maybe your style, right? Maybe this is part of our outer awareness of our outer selves. And then what we're going to get to also, we're going to talk about a few of these, but our inner awareness as well. So it's interesting because our inner awareness, he says, is there's so much to be aware of that's just as vast, at least as any outer awareness that we should be having. That there's so much going on inside of us. I'm not just saying how our blood is flowing, but emotionally, mentally, the inside of there's so much there. But we're so attached to ourselves. There's a generalization about society, but our inner awareness is actually quite limited. So I'm just going to read you a quote. And this is just he says it so beautifully. He says, quite frankly, many of us do not want to know this inner world. Instead, we lead lives focused on external, recoiling from looking within, even for one moment. It's as if we're afraid of being burnt by coming into contact with some strange, hold on, I didn't even mean to read this. Anyways, as long as we continue not to look inside of ourselves, it's hard to develop who we are and to know ourselves. So here he just summarizes that. Living with this awareness that our day-to-day life is an ongoing communication with God. No, that comes later. We're going to get to that. Okay. So our greatness, though, he's saying that our ability to be great depends on having some sort of inner awareness, because if we don't know what we're working with, right, then how do we know how to grow and achieve our greatness? So, and it's interesting because for our outer greatness, there's so many leads teaching us, showing us which direction to go. It's so easy to be busy focusing on our outer greatness, because with advertising, how can you not? There's, on the other hand, like there's so much advertising, right? Like to look a certain way, to drive a certain car, every billboard, what you should drink, right? We were driving down the Leetsdale and the slushies on the billboard, what to drink, what to eat. There's so much. That's what advertising is there's all different, yeah. Every street has a different like refreshing beverage on the billboard. So there's so much telling us how to attain greatness, whatever that is for our outer awareness. But there's much less that talks about our inner awareness. And yeah, it's good to be aware of our outer awareness also. That's important. And, you know, some other examples, which I totally support, is obviously we have to be healthy. And, you know, there's skincare, there's makeup, there's support local businesses of people selling these things. But at the same time, we also need to focus on our inner greatness. And there's so much less social pressure because you don't see it as much. It's not out there. Okay. So how do we do this? How do we get to know our inner selves? How do we do it? So have a healthy mindset. Yeah, that's important for sure. How do we really get to know what's inside ourselves? So we have some ideas of how to go about that. One is just to look at the messages that are around us. Now, we don't have prophecy today. There's no one like telling us exactly what we need, right? Like we have ways to tell us where we want to go when we're driving or walking or biking, or on the bus, right? That's Google Maps. It does for the bus. Anyways, we have that, but there's no one telling us where to go or what to do to achieve our inner greatness. So what messages do we have? So we have our day. As we go through our day, we should stop and reflect. And talking about little habits, this is one habit that might be really helpful, is at the end of the day to stop and think about your day. Maybe you're journaling about it or whatever you feel you do.
Estes here. What are you doing?
Whatever you feel you need to help you process that day and to reflect on it and to learn from it and take messages from it. So what kind of messages can we take from our days? So one, I think is the most clear, is how did I react in a certain situation, right? Like maybe I was under a lot of pressure. Did I buckle? Was I calm? Was I rude? Did I yell? Was I stressed? Go nuts. No, it's my keeper. It's so cute. Okay, I'll just try not to be distracted.
We're not going to make faces, okay?
Actually, that's I think we talked about this before. A parenting secret: if a kid's doing something and you don't want them to keep doing it, try not to pay attention. But it can be really hard when it's so cute. Talking it out is a great thing to do, and if you can find someone to talk out things through in the day, then that's super helpful, is to have a friend or family, someone to talk things through with. Okay, so that's one idea, is how do I react in different situations? We can look at that. Another idea we take from our day is what happened to me today. So I'm not saying in the sense that we should decide our future and who we are based on what happened to us, but we can look at what happened to us and kind of like look for deeper messages and what can I learn from it. Okay, so here's where the next quote comes in. Living with this awareness that our day-to-day life is an ongoing communication with God lies at the heart of being inwardly awake. Meaning we're going through our days and we're looking for these messages. We're realizing that this is this is how God communicates with us. It's not through prophecy. It's just by the world around us, right? By giving us nature, by different scenarios that happen. And we should just look at them and take time to think about it and reflect on them. Okay. And then what's interesting about it, I think for me, is thankfully, I'm so grateful that I have the opportunity to be an educator and I get to talk about all these interesting, fun, philosophical, practical ideas all the time. And as I go throughout my day, it's become habit that I look for these different scenarios because I can talk about them. It makes a good story, right? You put it in a speech and it's interesting. It brings it to life. There's practical examples. And so I think that's really just a great habit in general, that we can take these stories from our lives and we can learn lessons from them, and we can all do that. Okay, so I'm not saying that in that scenario of using it as a teaching moment to tell anyone what to do, but right, classroom teachers, we know this, there's teaching moments, there's moments that just come to the forefront, and we use those as an opportunity to learn. So really, it's just taking our day and looking for those teaching moments throughout our day. Okay. And just the last, I mentioned environment. And our environment is so important. And it's important to think about who we surround ourselves with. I had the opportunity recently of making a new friend and just seeing who she surrounds herself with. And it's just incredible to see how that works, and to see just when you get a sense of different people. And I love meeting people's friends or their family, because you get a better sense of a person by knowing and understanding those around them. So we should look, who are we surrounding ourselves with? Are they people that have good habits that we want to have also, that we're building habits together? That's just going back to everything you talked about, that we want to put ourselves in a situation. They say there's all these kinds of statistics, right? Like, let's say someone's trying to quit smoking, or someone's trying to eat healthy. There's all these statistics that, like, if the 5 closest people you surround yourself with, if they're also doing those things, you'll be that much more successful. And I just think about, there's a social pressure to hike, right, in Colorado, and to camp, to go camping. Like, everyone's doing it. So that's a good habit to be surrounded with. And we just want to kind of be aware of those habits and what's going on around us, so we can put ourselves in the place that we want to be.
You're saying like environmental awareness, like be aware of your environment and to put yourself in situations and around people that will be good for you.
Exactly.
Beautiful.
Yeah. Okay, so then there's questions, right? Or reflection questions at the end. So, how much awareness do I bring to the events in my life? He asks. What are some messages that my life events have contained? That could be really interesting to stop and to journal about, and just look back at life events and try to look for that deeper meaning and messages that we can learn from it. What could I do to live with more awareness? And just think for yourself practically, how can you bring more awareness into your life? And I would just add one thing that I think would be interesting for self-awareness is, what pushes my buttons, right? And I think once we figure that out and we have awareness of ourselves, then maybe we can come to think about, if I know what pushes my buttons, then I can have an idea, going back to what you said about, how do I want to improve? Like, oh, I really need to work on X, Y, and Z. And it could be kind of like disheartening, right? That sometimes we want to run away from this inner awareness. Like, I'm really terrible in this area. We want to be careful not to be hard on ourselves, because just like you told me the other day, is like, we're not perfect. We're not expected to be perfect. We're expected to be here and in the process of working to improve ourselves. So even if what we see when we look and we have a greater inner awareness is not what we would hope that it would be, as long as we have that awareness, that's the first step, and we can just continue to grow and be better, and not to be too hard on ourselves that we're not there yet, that we're not perfect, that we should be able to see that process with gentle, loving eyes on ourselves and where we're at.
Yeah, and I think as you as you just said something, it reminds me of an article I read recently, and I think there's really something to possessing that self-awareness that, to notice like how you feel when you start getting like angry. Right? So I read like this article about someone who had like a significant like kind of anger problem. He's really trying to work on it, and the way that he successfully worked on it was like identifying like that he was starting to feel angry and he was tensing up and he was whatever, and then through recognizing that, having that awareness, he was able to kind of power through it.
For sure. And then he's catching himself before it really starts.
Right.
Yeah.
And I know for me, I think the enemy of self-awareness is like TikTok, is the cell phone, is this thing here. Because you're in your own planet. You might have like a child on your lap, might be in the park, swinging a kid, and you're not with them because you're not totally unaware of anything going on.
It takes us away from being present. Like maybe, the first step of having that self-awareness is just being present in our own lives.
Exactly. 100%. 100%.
I can't see the Instagram.
Big shout out to Adam and Tara Vogel, who are with us on Instagram. Yeah. So to be present, have awareness, that's good stuff. Beautiful. So again, the journal questions are what again? So if anyone wants to.
Yeah. So, here, do you want to read them?
Yes. Okay. So anyone wants to write about this, journal about this. How much awareness do I bring to the events of my life? It's a great thing to reflect on. What are some messages that my life events have contained? I guess you're demonstrating awareness of like what you were saying before, like interpreting the things in your life. And what could I do to live with even more awareness? Beautiful. What rituals can you put in place to bring it all together?
Yeah.
Cool. Okay, awesome. So definitely have some serious food for thought tonight. Hopefully we can go ahead and reflect and approach this month of Elul with a real opportunity for growth, and that we can really end up in a different place next year than we were this year, because we will focus on the process and the growth and really become the amazing, inspiring people that we're destined and we're meant to be.
That's so cool about just doing live from the bunker, and all of you who come on, that I really feel like this is a community that we're growth minded. You're here because you're interested in learning something new, and we're growing here together.
Exactly. Beautiful.
Yeah,
all right. We're about to end, but I have to just share a little rabbi wisdom before we go. For those many of you on Instagram, we have a segment called Rabbi Wisdom every week. And I'll end with the following. We have this Thursday night actually a barbecue that we're running on our porch. We're going to be making bags for the homeless as well. And today, Alex and I did a test run on the grill. It's been since Purim since we've used it. And just some rabbi wisdom is when igniting that massive grill, you just take a step back so it doesn't like flare up on you and make like a big fiery mess. So when igniting a grill, just use caution that it doesn't flare up on you with all that gas, and just be careful.
I would even use that and take that event and think about like your inner awareness. What could you learn from that? Like maybe when you start something new, just to be like super focused and
be focused and cautious, and don't let it burn you.
Don't let it burn you.
Okay. Amazing. Well, thank you all for being here. Have a beautiful night.
She just wants to say hi.
Devorah wants to say hello. I
good night.
don't know if she can see anyone.
Yeah.
There she is.
Oh.
Okay. All right. Good night from us and from Devorah. A beautiful night.
Thanks for joining.
We'll see you all. Good night, Kelly. Thanks for joining us. Good night, everyone. All the best.